Welcome back to Between the Silos, where we talk about sales and marketing alignment and why so many companies struggle with it. Today, I'm joined by Hannah Meinke, content manager at Vi. Hannah leads the team of copywriters here and has worked in marketing across lots of industries, including higher ed, franchises, B2B, and pet supplies. She will not be my guest today. We're going to switch it up for a special episode, and instead of being the host, I'm going to be the guest.
Let's
do this.
I love a good plot twist, Jen. This is going to be so fun. Are you ready?
I think so. This will be different, so we'll see how it goes.
Okay. All right. You're on the other side of the table, and I'm going to take over. You can sit back and relax.
All right. I'm ready.
Okay. I've got a couple things cooked up for you today. And the first thing is going to be a campaign breakdown. So the Cannes Lions Awards were held last month, and they award, top marketing campaigns from across the globe. But they're very pretentious, and you have to pay to see their website. So in protest of that, we are going to talk about some of the best B2B ads according to the Webby Awards, which are just as valid and not as pretentious because we can see them for free. So this is how it's going to work. I'm going to describe to you 3 entries from the Webby Awards, and you tell me what you like about them, what concerns you'd bring to the kickoff, and then I'll have you guess which was the winner and which was the nominees. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Excellent. Okay, so this is summary number 1 from the perspective of the agency that entered it. We knew we couldn't just run a typical B2B campaign. Instead, we launched a completely new business led by a group of people who have a history of running a terrible business, the cast of The Office. The missing piece, AT&T Business. We tapped into business decision makers' sleep deprivation behavior to create our product, a talking pillow, designed to help people sleep with Rainn Wilson's voice. While B2B campaigns are often unrealistically positive, we tapped into real business owners' anxieties and transformed them into laughs and entertainment. Do you watch The Office, Jen?
I do, yes. Not religiously, but I do watch it.
Okay, all right, I'll take that. So tell me, what are your thoughts?
Okay, I have to admit, I didn't see these originally, so I went in and I was looking for them in preparation of what were these campaigns? And this one is hilarious. It is so funny. So funny. So yes, I would encourage anyone that has not looked it up to go look it up. It is so funny. It is so unexpected. And so what I love about it is that it's wacky and out there and funny and memorable and just so good.
Was there any part of you that was watching the campaign with just dollar signs with how expensive? They did a full 6-minute episode. I can't imagine how expensive the campaign
I can't imagine how expensive it was either. And you're like, is this the ad? Is this it? Is this a teaser? What are we doing here?
Yeah, it was a little bit of a bait and switch.
It was.
I think some people thought they were actually rebooting The Office, which was a bummer when they weren't.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yep, exactly. And it was is this real? Is the pillow the product? What are we doing? But I loved it. It's so good.
I love that they actually made the pillow and you could buy it. I would.
Yeah, and it's sold out now.
Yeah, I know. I'm dang, I didn't get there fast enough.
Same. I was okay, now I actually have to see if this pillow is real. It is. Wow. And it's sold out. Good job. That wasn't even the intention. So yes, very, very, very clever. I loved it. I did question kind of all the things we talked about. Is that what now? Are you going to keep selling the pillow, or do you, lean more into the AT&T side of this? So the next steps was my concerns or questions, how are you going to take this campaign on the road and keep going with it? But the creative is incredible.
Yeah. That's definitely something I think about a lot with campaigns, because it's fun to be clever, but if your audience only takes away, wow, that was clever, you kind of miss the mark, right? Because they're not really thinking about the business or the product at the end of it.
Totally agree. Yeah, it's that was good, but does it have the staying power? And maybe they don't need it to, but I would be so curious to see the impact of AT&T. The pillow, sure, but AT&T, I'm so curious what happened in their business if they could see a dramatic increase.
Oh. And I think with these kind of pop culture campaigns, you sort of cast a really broad net and you get the attention of a lot of people who aren't your ICP, right? Aren't business owners, but are just Gen Z on TikTok who think it's hilarious,
Yep,
which is good, but how many of them are actually business owners?
totally agree.
Okay, I have one last question for you related to this. Is the sleep deprivation business owner thing real? Do you relate to that?
Oh, so relatable. So
Okay.
relatable.
All right.
And have like a million pillows. So I thought that was
Yeah.
funny too, because you're like, maybe this pillow will do the
Hmm.
magic trick. Yes,
Wait,
absolutely.
what kind of pillow do you have?
I have hundreds of pillows. The
Yeah.
one I'm on right now is it's this like crescent shaped thing. Not,
Yeah.
you know what I'm talking about?
I
Yeah,
have seen
it's got
one.
that, and then the one that goes in between your legs, like prop it everywhere
Oh.
kind of thing. Yes.
Oh, like a
Yep.
cocoon.
Yeah, kind of like a cocoon, yeah.
I have the crescent shaped as well because I'm a side sleeper and it has cooling technology.
Ooh, yes, I have cooling everything. Sheets,
Hmm.
pillow, comforter, everything.
And then when I can't sleep, I'll switch to my husband's pillow because I'm like, you know
Hmm.
what? That's probably the problem. I just have the wrong pillow.
Right? Yes. Yep, very relatable.
Okay, so let's move on to campaign number 2. So in Colombia, only 18% of citizens have access to a full pension due to widespread informal employment. We bridge this gap by partnering strategically with Poker, Colombia's second top beer brand, to introduce the beer retirement account. In collaboration with the Colombian government and the Colombian Pension Fund, shopkeepers can now accumulate points with every beer they sell, which is translated directly into pension savings through AB InBev's global B2B digital platform, Bees. What do you think?
So amazing. So many
Right?
things about this one I loved. Like the impact of it, one, so cool. And like when you watch it, you're like, wow, that's kind of sad, but really cool. And it just like the storytelling of it is so good
Hmm.
that I love that. And then that they kind of blended that techie feel in there was also really cool. That I loved like the apps and sort of like how they were drawing in how it goes from one platform to the other, like in parallel to this really heartwarming story. So I thought the creative was awesome. I thought like what it's actually solving was awesome. So loved this one.
It was so heartwarming to see. I feel like sometimes marketing gets a bad rap as being a little bit soulless, but this was such a good example of how it actually can help people. You can kill two birds with one stone. I was quite inspired by this one.
Yeah, I really love this one too. The only thing I was like, is there any ethical concerns with like
Hmm.
borderline bribery? You know,
I could see
borderline bribery of selling beer, but I
it.
suppose if you're gonna
Hmm.
do it anyway and you get to retire and the company is kicking in and the government is kicking in, like it is a pretty cool story.
If you had a beer retirement account, what brand of beer would it be?
Oh, I'm not really a beer drinker, so I'm kind of like a craft beer girl.
Oh.
Yeah, that's sort of my preference. So I that's a hard one, but Tito's. That if I could get a retirement account for Tito's,
Excellent. I
I
like
do.
that. Yeah, I would take a margarita retirement account,
Okay,
I
yep.
would think. A lemon drop martini retirement account.
Right? That'd be so cool.
Okay, let's do the last one and then we'll see where you're at with who you think is the winner. So, campaign number 3, the campaign harkens back to the first golden age of advertising. Set in the 1960s, inspired ad agency run by CEO Eleanor Weeks. The campaign brings awareness to the challenges agencies face, juxtapositioning the glamour of the golden age of advertising to the struggles of today's agency world. We wanted to convey that Basis creates a simpler, more desirable place to work. We would pair a simple, era inspired explanation of our capabilities with an emotionally resonant message that communicates the core idea through a romanticized version of that time. Do you want to give like a quick recap? Did you watch the video for this
I
one?
did. Yeah, I did.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know if I'll give an exact recap, but when I watched it about the chaos of agency life, it was like, yes, so spot on. Kind of Mad Men, a little more polished, but really just everything that's relatable about the chaos that you live in an agency world of running it.
What is the product that they were selling That's my question.
Yeah, that's a great. So I don't actually know what basis is. I was like, I should go check that out because it's interesting.
Yeah.
But what is it? They never did talk about that. I assumed that it was sort of like maybe like a project management or operational
Mhm.
management tool. But it's a great question because I don't actually know. But if it really makes everything just so smooth, like okay, I should learn.
And maybe that's enough. Like as long as they leave you wanting to know more and you go look at their website, they've done their job, I guess.
Yeah, and like for me, that one I was like, I've seen that brand, I've seen that logo before, so it's definitely like come across my desk. I couldn't
Okay.
tell you exactly what it was, but it didn't pique my interest enough to go like, I wonder what this is. Now, on the
Nice.
same vein, I'm also like, is it for more than just agency folks? Because that seems like
Mhm.
super nichey if that's all it is. But for me, being in the agency space, I was certainly intrigued.
That's a good point. So what do you think of the three was the winner and which were the nominees?
I have to believe the pillow, the AT&T campaign had to be the winner. It's just too good. It's funny. It's spot on, super relatable. So my guess is that was the winner, and the Colombian beer is the runner up.
Now, did you cheat at all? Did you go look it up?
I did not actually. No.
Okay. All right,
Nope.
I'm gonna hold you to
Nope.
that. I think
Nope.
you
I did
might
not. Nope.
you might just be good at marketing because you are correct.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
You got
Yeah.
it right.
No, I didn't. I thought about cheating. I'm not gonna lie. I would think
Good.
about it, and then I thought,
Good.
no, I'm not gonna do that.
My mom believes that the goal of every board game is to see how much you can cheat without getting caught. So
Oh,
I
okay.
would
That
have
sounds like a fun
100%.
time.
Yeah, yeah. It adds a layer of interest to every family game night.
That's funny.
Okay, so let's kind of take the rubber to the road and move on to our next section, which is story time. And I would love to hear about a particular campaign that you have experience with that maybe suffered from misalignment, because the title of this podcast is Between the Silos. So it's
Yeah.
only right that we kind of talk about alignment, what happened, and what you learned from that our audience could see some value in.
Absolutely. There's probably so many of these, but one that came to mind recently that we did for a client is there's a lot of misalignment, unfortunately, and it does happen quite a bit. So this one in particular was something that the client brought to us, and they were hot on it. So
Mhm.
they was like, this is the best thing for our customers, and they need to be doing this, and it's going to be huge, and like just the doors are going to blow off the place when we do this. And so we're like, awesome, slam dunk, right? Like this is going to be easy. So we started down that path, and we've got creative, and we've got messaging, and we've got everything sort of in line to launch this. And as we kept going further in the creation of this, there was just like a lot of things. So what we were told was really important to customers turned out to be maybe just a little more important to our client and not their customers. So that was like misalignment point one is like they thought it would be a big deal, but I think they just needed it to be a big deal instead of what their customers needed. And then because they were in a rush to launch what they thought was going to be a really important thing, there was not the time and the due diligence to bring the sales team along the journey. So they didn't know what this was. They didn't know why it would matter. They weren't pushing it. They really didn't even know about it in a lot of instances, is that this was supposed to be important. And so then we came sort of behind and tried to bring them along like, hey, this is really important. And they just didn't get it. So that was kind of, a pain point. And then sort of the final blow was that by the time we can get everyone up to speed on this campaign, sales, marketing, leadership of what it was and why it's important, the client is already on to new initiatives. And so
Mm.
that was sort of like, just the master of being misaligned on one, the importance of it, what is the messaging, and then they kept wanting to add features, benefits, vendors, partners. Add in this partner in here. They want to pitch this one angle, and so the message also just kept getting more and more diluted. So it was one of those lessons of like, should have pushed harder, should have spoke up, should have said more, and really stood our ground of like, who is this for ultimately, and how are we all coming in alignment to push this? And then, obviously moving on to the next campaign, that's always the really hard part, is like they're like, okay, next thing. And because they think it didn't work, but it won't work because there's not the effort and the due diligence, one at the beginning to make sure it's what clients actually need, and two at the very end to make sure the message actually gets out to them and sticking with it long enough and iterating if need be, but not just abandoning. So I think it's really important to note, like, some of our clients, and really clients everywhere, I think you can just like force impact with noise. And it just doesn't work like that. Like, well, we just need to be louder or tell them more, and it needs to be bought in across all those levels for it to be successful.
That's so relatable. I think in particular, the part about it being important for the internal team, but not as important for the customer. Do you have any advice for agency owners or execution teams about how to kind of push their clients to test whether it's just important to them or to their actual customer?
Yeah, I mean, often we do like persona interviews, and we do those at the beginning of a lot of our initial, our partnerships with clients. And I think we should do more of that along the way. We should do the spot checking along the way of like, but does this really, really matter? And I think both with prospects, customers, and sales teams, because they're the ones pushing it, instead of like somebody at the top comes with this idea. I think there has to be just more due diligence of like, is this right? And if it's right and it's real, is the message resonating as well? Like, you have to sort of do some of those pilot and spot checks along the way to make sure, and then iterating on it. Because yeah, often you're just running so fast. And so my advice is, one, ask, but two, it's like, slow down to run fast. We get in this spot so often that everything is urgent, and therefore like nothing kind of is. And so like actually figuring out what actually is urgent, slow down, do it right. We're actually in a project right now, very similar. It's like, get it out the door immediately, right now. And this one, we are pushing back, going, no, this is a really, really big deal. And if we push it out the door, we're going to have repercussions down the road. Like, we're watching out for you getting in your own way, because they want to run and they need leads and they need revenue, and they're not thinking about the impact of those decisions.
So funny, it kind of harkens back to that golden age of advertising campaign, right? Where things are moving fast and you have to balance this kind of pleasing the client, but also kindly pushing back and making sure that they're looking at the whole picture. I'm curious in this story how you sort of regained ground with that particular client after the campaign didn't do what it was supposed to do.
Well, we've been revisiting it now. And so we've
Okay.
we've done a lot of meetings with the sales team, actually, and trying to get them up to speed. So not throwing it away, but trying to resurrect it and see, okay, what didn't work? One, do we not push it in enough channels? Did we not push it in enough places? But two, how do we actually get the sales team to push this in unison with the other things they're now talking about? And so, it's not, I wouldn't say it's like a slam dunk now. It's not like we picked it back up and it's amazing, but it's maybe getting more realistic with like, here's what happened, here's what went wrong, here's the results we are getting, and how we can learn from it as best we can at this point.
Yeah. Kind of reminds me, have you ever laid flooring in a house?
Yes.
So like you start laying flooring and you're like a little bit off, and then all of a sudden the whole thing doesn't work and you have to pull it back up, start over, make sure you've got the foundation like correctly lined up, and then you can kind of go with it.
It's a great analogy. Yep.
Painful, but
painful to learn it. Yep.
Yeah.
And you're like, can I make this work? Just like try to eke it along for a little bit, and then finally they're like, nope, okay, just tear it up. It's not working.
Yeah. And then
you go back honest about that. I think that there is some respect and trust, and just being honest, like, this did not work. Here's what we thought it was going to do. Here's what it's doing. Let's if we can't do much more, let's at least learn from it.
Yeah. And that's what your beer retirement account is for at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing that story. I think that was really helpful. So, for our last segment, in place of the usual hot seat, I have created a game for you, Jen. It's called AI or Hemingway.
Okay.
And so I'm going to read you a series of statements, and you're going to tell me who wrote which, AI or Ernest Hemingway.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yep.
Okay. All right, so round one, statement one. The old man was thin and gaunt with deep wrinkles in the back of his neck. He had gone 84 days now without taking a fish. Statement number two. She ordered a drink and sat quietly, watching the people pass by the cafe window. The afternoon stretched ahead like an empty road.
Okay, I'm going to guess the first one is AI and the second one is Hemingway.
Oh my gosh, I stumped you. It's the
Okay,
opposite.
okay. You know, it's like it could be either, which is kind of
Right?
crazy.
I will say, so I wrote this and then I tested it on my husband and he guessed every single one correctly. So I had to make it I had to make it harder.
A lot better at this than I am.
Well, I upped the ante for you.
Okay.
Okay. All right, round number two. Statement one. The fish was silver and moved through the water like a shadow. He watched it disappear into the darkness. Statement number two. The world breaks everyone, and afterward, many are strong at the broken places.
Yeah, see, this is gonna stump me too, because it's like I'm going, which one is Hemingway trying to be more clear or or not? So I'm gonna say Hemingway's the first one.
I stumped you again, Jen.
Oh man.
AI. Tricky
Good
AI.
It was tricky.
Mhm.
Because you're trying to outthink AI, right? Like
Right.
how would AI think about it?
Mhm. I did tell Claude, my bestie, the AI chat, to do his best and mimic Hemingway. So he got his A game.
He really did.
He did. Okay, let's see about the last round. Statement number one. All modern American literature comes from one book by Mark Twain called Huckleberry Finn. Statement number two is my favorite. Write drunk, edit sober.
Okay. This one I'm going, the first one is Hemingway.
You got it. Yeah. It's a bit of a
but I do love Write Drunk, Edit Sober.
Right.
That's good.
That was not written by AI, but it was like misquoted to Hemingway. So this was kind of a trick one. But you got it right. So good for you.
Well, wonderful. Thank you. Thanks for shaking it up. Appreciate your time. And we'll see you again in 2 weeks for a fresh episode.
Awesome. It was great to talk with you, Jen.
And for all the listeners out there, make sure to hit the subscribe button so you always know when a new episode lands. Until then, don't forget, the best things to happen to your team will always happen between the silos.